Welcome to this class. We will continue with chapter 6. Remember, our goal is to achieve this semester up to chapter 8. This is the first topic of chapter 6, and it's a very interesting, and it's not a difficult topic, but I will say it's a very interesting topic. The topic is the adjectives that we place in Espanol before the noun. That's very similar to many adjectives in English, and so you may find it that it's not that complex for you. But before I go into the topic, I want to say first, remember that in Spanish, the adjectives, when they describe or qualify, they goes after the noun. For instance, if I say, David es un chico inteligente, inteligente is describing chico in that case. In English, you cannot make that sentence that way. You have to place inteligente before chico. The other way to make these sentences is placing the adjective after the verb to be. That's very similar to English. David is a smart guy. We can say in Espanol, David es inteligente. That's very similar in English as in Espanol. But if you are using the adjectives to describe or qualify, they go after the noun or after the verb to be. The adjectives that we will study today are different in the sense that we place it, like in English, before the nouns. And there is a few adjectives that we place before the noun. The first one are the numerical adjectives. What I mean by that, simple numbers. So, like in English, if you say, I have 2 brothers, that number 2 is an adjective that you place before the noun brothers. In Spanish, the sentence will be very similar. Tengo 2 hermanos. So the adjective dos goes before the noun, hermanos. That's the first case that adjectives that we place before the noun, exactly like in English. The second case are quantitative nouns or quantitative adjectives. What I mean by that is not necessarily numbers, but amounts or expressions that reflect amounts like mucho or poco or algunos or ninguno. Those kind of expressions that are referring to numbers, but they are not specific numbers. So in Spanish, I can say something like this. Ella tiene mucha hambre. Ella tiene mucha hambre. Right? Mucha goes before hambre there and is describing hambre there. Why we place mucha before hambre? Because mucha is an adjective of quantity. Right? I can change the sentence and says, él tiene poco dinero. Él tiene poco dinero. In that case, poco is the adjective that goes before dinero. Why we place poco or mucho before the nouns? Because they are quantitative adjectives. The third case is possessive adjectives, and they work exactly like in English. You can say in English something like, my brother is tall. In Spanish, you will say pretty much the same thing. Mi hermano es alto. Mi is the possessive adjectives and goes before hermano, exactly like in English. So that's the third case of adjectives that we place before the nouns. The fourth case is demonstrative adjectives. What I mean by that, this or that in English, that in Spanish, remember, we have 3 different kind of demonstrative adjectives depending the distance from the speaker and the object or the person that we are talking about. So you can say, este libro es mío. Right? Este is the demonstrative adjective that goes before libro. That's very similar to English. You can say, this book is mine, or this is my book. Right? This will go before the noun, exactly like in English. Este, ese, aquel, esa, eso, and so on goes before the noun. The other type of adjective that goes before the nouns are the ones that express personal opinions. And there are not many, but at least there is 2. And they are very important because you tend to make sentences using mejor most of the time. When you refer to your friends, you tend to say, mi mejor amiga. right? Mejor there goes before amiga. Why is that? Because you are expressing your own opinion. Uh, it can be the same with peor. Sergio es el peor profesor. Peor goes before the noun profesor. So every single time that you are using adjectives that are expressing your own opinion, not necessarily something real, but a perception that you have about a particular object, you can place those adjectives before the noun. Just to summarize the thing, remember there are some adjectives that in Spanish as well as in English we place before the noun, like in the example, ella tiene dos gatos, right? Dos is numerical adjective, goes before the noun. Don't forget that adjectives also agree with the gender and the number. That's very, very important in Spanish, right? And that's not the case in English. I want to say something that you can study in the slides, and do not forget also that some adjectives drop the O in front of a masculine noun. That's the case of uno, right? That always become un in front of a masculine noun. Tengo un hermano, right? It's the same with adjectives like bueno, malo, primero, that we study in chapter 5 under the ordinal numbers, tercero, alguno, and ninguno, that we study in chapter 2 under the topic of negative expressions. Don't forget that, because that's very important and it's easy to make a mistake. So if you are making a sentence with any of those adjectives, for instance, if you decide to use the adjective ninguno, you will say, no veo a ningún estudiante. Why ningún? Because estudiante is masculine and ninguno always drop the O in front of a masculine noun and also get the acento over the U in the last syllable. The next part of this chapter is to learn, and that's probably the most difficult part of this topic, is to learn some adjectives that if you place it before or you place it after, they change a little bit the meaning. But before I go into that, let me tell you another particular piece of information. It's very small, that is important to keep in mind. There is two adjectives that are shortened. We make it shorter in front of nouns, and that's grande. That's become gran if you place it before the noun. I will give you an example. El Papa es un gran hombre, right? El Papa Francisco es un gran hombre. Because grande there goes before the noun, I have to make that grande shorten it and say gran. It's the same with the adjective cualquiera. Cualquier estudiante puede aprender español. That will be a perfect example. Cualquier estudiante puede aprender español. Cualquier there means any, right? And in the former sentence about the Pope, gran means they're great. We are not talking with gran before the noun about the size of a person. We are talking about either moral characteristics or the impact of this figure in history, right? So remember those. Grande becomes gran before a noun, as well as cualquiera becomes cualquier in front of a noun. Now, what kind of adjectives change the meaning before the noun or after the noun? Remember that if you place an adjective after the noun, you are qualifying or describing. That's the rule in Espanol. So even these adjectives that I will be talking about, and I won't talk about all the adjectives. You can go to your chapter 6 and review all the adjectives. There are about 18 together. I will just review 3 or 4 here in this moment. These adjectives, if you place it after the noun, they qualify and describe. They follow the normal rule of the language. But if you place it before, they change the meaning, right? So what are the most popular or the most common adjectives that change the meaning if you place it before or after? Grande, that we just saw a few seconds ago with the example of the Pope. Grande is very common to use. If you place it before, grande doesn't mean tall or big. Grande means great. The next one is nuevo. It's very common to use nuevo. If you place it before, means new to you, not necessarily brand new. The other one is puro. Los atletas toman agua pura. In that sentence, I am using pura after the noun. So I'm using that to describe the quality of water. That means pure there. But if I says, yo tomo pura agua, I may be saying I don't have enough money to drink something different. It's just water what I can afford, right? Or if I'm talking about the quality of, let's say, coffee, if I put este café es pura agua, I am saying something negative and derogatory about the quality of coffee, kind of like nothing else but water, right? Kind of like negative connotation in that particular case. Único will be another example, and it's very common example. If I say, mi esposa es una mujer única, I'm using in that sentence única to describe and qualify my wife. She is unique. But if I say, ella es la única esposa, ella es mi única esposa, I'm saying she is the only one. So you place it before means only, you place it after means unique. This expression that I'm saying here, you may say, those are easy. My recommendation is to go and practice those because they are not easy. You need to work hard. You need to mastermind. You need to practice this thing until you are getting the difference between placing the adjective after the noun or placing before and how they change the meaning. The meaning may not be a dramatical change, but there is a change anyway in meaning. So in order to do that and in order to help you to improve your skills in Espanol, I will give you, you will be able to see those sentences in the slideshow. I will give you 10 sentences that you can use as extra credit or you can use as homework depending the moment that we are in the semester. And I hope that you can fill in the blank all those sentences and you can see where exactly are you in the controlling this particular part of the topic. For instance, if I say el café de Dunkin' Donuts es blank agua, right? If you place pura agua there, you are saying that Dunkin' Donuts coffee is nothing but water. It's downgraded to water, right? If you says in a different sentence, you says, los atletas beben agua. In the blank space after agua, you place pura, you are saying the athletes drink pure water. So as you can see in those two examples, you can see the difference of meaning from the same adjective, pura in this case, right? And don't forget, this is very, very important. The reason that I'm using pura in both cases is because I am using a feminine noun. I am using agua, and agua is a feminine noun. So if I am describing agua, placing the adjective after agua, that's still, the adjective has to agree with the gender and the number of agua. So agua pura. If I place it before, I'm still working with the noun agua, and I still have to honor the gender of agua. So I will say pura agua. Another example, and that will be the last part of this video, is let's say that you have a new car. Yo tengo un coche nuevo. If you say nuevo after car, you are describing that the condition of the car is brand new because you are placing the adjective after the noun. That means that you are describing or qualifying the noun. But if you place it before and you say tengo un nuevo coche, right? Nuevo there is not describing the quality of car. What it's doing is saying that you have another car, a car that is new to you, but not necessarily you are describing the condition or the quality of the car. So hopefully you will navigate those 10 sentences that I give you there and you can practice and see where exactly are you in controlling this particular topic that is, in a way, is very fascinating because it can give you the sense of, oh, I am learning more Spanish than normal. I am learning something new, something that is not the norm, not the regular rules of Spanish, but this is something new, and that can be attractive to you, I hope. Don't forget to subscribe into my channel, and I will see you next time. So long for now.